Hey everyone, so today's topic is data types in JavaScript. So whenever you're starting with JavaScript, one of the first things you need to understand is data type. Data types tell us what kind of value we are working with, and everything in JavaScript, whether it's a word, a number or a list, has a type. We'll start with the simpler ones known as the primitive data types and then move on to non-primitive data types like objects and arrays. So about primitive data types, these are the most basic data types in JavaScript. The five main primitive data types are, I'll write here. The first one is string, the second is number, the third one is boolean, fourth one is undefined, and the fifth one is null. So let's start with the string. A string is basically a text, anything you put inside quotes, either single or double. For example, so let's start with strings. So if I declare a variable name and I use the value inside the quotes, it can be anything. So Mark, sorry I'm not able to come up with a good name, but yeah. So this is a example of a string. So you can type here my name is, and to run it you can use the VS terminal node, and you can see that my name is Mark Fang, and you can guess that it's a string data type. Similarly, name is a variable that holds the value of the string. Similarly, moving on to numbers. So numbers can be whole numbers, decimals, positive or negative in JavaScript. JavaScript doesn't have the specific data types for handling decimals or whole numbers as you see in different languages. So what I mean by that is numbers, right? So if I declare one number, which can be anything, I can declare, let me use age of 28, but I can similarly declare score equal to 99.5. In different languages, you see that you can use or you use float or double to store decimal values, but in JavaScript, number is the one. Number data type holds everything. So the next we have are booleans. Booleans are the simplest data types as they only have two default values. One is true and another is false. So if I have, and similarly, so these are booleans, and the next one is undefined. So if I define a variable and do not define it, just declare it, and if I extract or access it in the terminal, what do you think I will get? Let me clear the terminal. So as you can see, undefined. So this is the way of JavaScript telling us that the value is not defined. And similarly, the fifth data type is null. Null is something that we declare on our own. So if I use the value like let age equals to null or age 2, so this is the way for me to guess that if the error comes from age 2 or the value is not getting defined, it's because of me. It's a way of telling that this is the value, or if the error comes from here, it's from age 2. So as you can see, so now here's something important. JavaScript is dynamically typed, which means it figures out the type based on the value you assign. You don't need to say, hey, this is a number. JavaScript just knows, but that means types can change. What do I mean by that? So if I assign one variable, let's say if I do age is 42 or 24, and I think I have used age, let number is 24, but I can reassign it to something, a string value that hinders the meaning of the variable, but still it works. And if I displaying this variable on the console, JavaScript compiler will learn and change the value it and update it from 24 to a string value, which is not so much great, but still this is the default behavior of JavaScript. And another thing to check what type of value is, we also have a typeof operator. So you can use typeof to know the type of data type or variables, anything. So if I use typeof and I write something like 3, so let me comment everything here by control and slash on Windows, and if I run this by typing clear and running this, you see a number. Similarly, I can also see type of, let's say, a string name, so you can see string, and similarly type of undefined will result in undefined. So yeah, so now that we have got the basics down, let's talk about the non-primitive types. These are more complex. The two most common ones are objects and arrays. Objects and arrays aren't simple values, they are data structures that help you group and organize multiple values. So let's tackle objects first. So object stores data in key value pairs. So what do I mean by that is, let me first clear the terminal. So objects. So objects can be used to hold information. So if I'm like to declare object, you use curly brace, and now there is a key and a value, key value pair. So if I write here name, mark and age of 21, so this is a user can see, and if I define one more key value, so I can write anything like city Toronto. So if I console.log it to the console, you will see what is an object. So object is a data structure that holds up values from primitives. You can use a number value as well, some booleans as well. So each key is like a label and each has a value attached to it. Objects are super useful when you want to represent represent real world things like a person, product, or a setting. Then we have arrays. So arrays are ordered lists of values. So to define one array, we generally name it plural. So colors red, blue, and green. So if I console.log our array, so you can see a data structure and or ordered list of values. So you can access each value using an indices or an index. Starting from 0, the color gives you red. Arrays are great when you want to store multiple values under a single name. So what do I mean by that? To access a single name or a single color. So if I write colors.name, so it will give me red. So how does it store the value? So this is 0 and this is 1 and this is 2. So if I want to get another value like colors.2, you can guess what I'll get. It's green. But if I go out of bounds, like if I search something not available in the indices like 6, so what do you think will I get? I think undefined, because it won't be able to find something at 6th index. So in real world, arrays are used to hold up objects because objects can hold as many values of as many data types. So to sum it all up, primitive types are your basic building blocks, simple and single values. Objects and arrays are structures used to organize and group values together. You will use these types constantly as you build real applications. Get comfortable with them now and you will be able to write cleaner, more powerful code as we move forward. Thank you.